more proof that Excel is not just for crunching numbers. Here's a comment I received in one of my videos this week. And yes, this is possible. You can use Excel formulas to grab text next to a checkbox only if that checkbox is checked. This is part 17 of Back to School Bootcamp for Spreadsheets. And today we're going to learn how to do an if statement. First, we're going to add a checkbox to a column. And to do that, you do need to have the developer ribbon enabled. If you don't know how to do that, go back and watch part 3 of the bootcamp where I walk you through the ribbon. Once you have added the checkbox, it's going to automatically show this placeholder text. We don't want that. We're going to delete that placeholder text. The reason we don't want to put our text in here is because that text is not going to be tied to anything. Next, we are going to assign the cell where the value for the checkbox is going to be. So you're going to right click, format control, and then you're going to say here is B3. I'm going to copy this check mark into other rows, and then unfortunately I have to manually reassign the cell for each check mark because unfortunately Excel is not super smart and won't change the reference for all of those cells. Once we've done that, we're going to then add whatever it is the text that we want to be accompanying each one of the checkboxes. The next thing we have to do is our if statement. So an if statement is essentially saying if a criteria is met, put this value into this cell. Else, or if that criteria is not met, what value do we want for the cell? So we're going to do if B3 is true, we want to duplicate the text that's next to B3, the text that's in C3. But if B3 is not true, we want this to be blank. And because it is a formula using relative references, you can just copy and paste down or drag down. And then the last step we need to do is combine all of this into one cell so you can get the output, so you can get any items that have been selected under one cell. To do that, you're going to use one of the Excel formulas that we already talked about when we were talking about text formulas. We're going to use TEXTJOIN. First, on TEXTJOIN, you're going to put what do you want to put between each one of those items. Here, I'm just putting a space. Next, you're going to say, I want to ignore blanks because you don't want to put multiple spaces between, say, item 1 and 3 if 2 is not checked. And then you're going to select the range where you have those if statements. So now you know how to do a very simple if statement. If statements are one of the most used Excel formulas for me. And things can get a little crazy when I start nesting if statements, but we're not going to get there quite yet. If you have another use for Excel that we haven't touched on yet, don't forget to post it in the comments. I would love to hear it.